so happy that you're here. I wanna make a formal introduction for you. Everyone, this is Jesse. Actor, former athlete, activist, entrepreneur, producer, from Alberta. Yay! Basically, I love all of this stuff that you've done with acting. The arts is such an important part of my own life, and we're just so happy that you're here. You can see what Jesse has done. I love, though, everything you do to give back to the community. I watched what you did for the Black Lives Matter just in the last week. You've just been I really loved how you said we're going to do this with grace and with gentleness and with patience. I thought, well, there's a rebel in a world right now that just needs a voice. And so we're here because, you're living a very unique life. And I wanted to start with a couple of provoking type of statements that I'm not sure what it's going to do to people, but one of the lenses that I look at mental health and resilience through is a sociological lens. So sociology, the study of culture. And I've been reading this book. It's very challenging. It's called The Life Without Father:
Mhm.
Compelling New Evidence That Fatherhood it's indispensable for the good of children and society. And that's a bit of a provoker for me, coming from a family that was broken, fled domestic violence. I was raised by a stepdad who became my dad. I've never even looked at him any other way.
Mhm.
But they say that we may be the first society in history in which children are worse off than adults. That's what the New York Times said. um, Another thing said, if we continue down the path of fatherlessness, we're headed for social disaster. And then Psychology Today said, I don't know, are you guys ready for this? We're going to debunk all of these things today because I got Jesse the Rebel here who's saying, not on my watch. But Psychology Today said, step families are such a minefield of divided loyalties, emotional traps, management conflicts that they're almost the most fragile form of family right now. And so, Jesse, you're here to tell everyone who's in these places that it doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree with you. I also don't necessarily disagree with some of those headlines because, we're looking statistically at what step families often look like and how broken, quote unquote, broken families, again, labels are important because our family's not broken by any stretch of the imagination. A little background on my family. So I was divorced once. So I was married to my first wife. Her name's Shannon, but in our family we call her Tuma, which is like second mom. So after we split, and our reasonings for splitting are what they are, we could get into that stuff too. But the most important piece was a lot of people say like it's about the kids, and yeah, kids. It actually was about us. We wanted to split in a way where we could still love each other and be great parents, but not just it's for the kids, right? Like we actually wanted to ensure that we could progress to a place where we could like each other, love each other, spend time together. And it was a lot of work early, obviously. And, it's that game of give and take and things that you need to do in order to feel that you're respected even in difficult times. And so we had a difficult time, but we did the work to ensure that we still felt loved, respected, and cherished. And that was great. So my second marriage, Shannon and I had two children. And then in my second marriage, we had one son. So I have three sons, two moms and a dad, essentially. It's the name of our TV show. But like, it's amazing because my wife and Tuma are friends. They hang out without me. We do dinners together. We go on vacations together. Specifically during this global pandemic, it was great because we had our own built-in cohort family. There was two houses to go to, so the kids could go back and forth. We would go over there sometimes. If someone needed a break, we would use one of the houses just to have alone time. We've carved out this wonderful arrangement. I mean, she babysits Indy, the third kid, and they all hang out. It's a pretty brilliant, amazing thing that we have here that took work, took a lot of humility, a lot of internal growth from everybody. My wife right now coming into a relationship where my first wife is always around, friends with my family, mom and dad, Christmas dinners, Thanksgiving, it's all of us all the time. So I imagine that could be weird, maybe if that's not the norm, but it's turned out to be great. Like we all actually love that we have a third parent there that's able to help. And specifically, it's really good right now because my wife Julia is the producer of CBC afternoon show, so she's producing the show all day long, and Shannon is a radio afternoon show at Up 99. So both of them are making radio, and so then that's me at home with three boys. So I got Indy, he's in daycare, which is whatever I make it, and then we have grade 4 and grade 6. And then also my life, I have a couple things that I got to do from time to time, and trying to get all those things done at the same time is not an easy game at all. Sometimes it's very it's a lot. Of course, it's a lot. It's exhausting, and we're in a global pandemic, and now we're also trying to save lives and treat people like normal human beings across the spectrum, all while still being a dad and trying to do his own stuff. So it's a lot. Oh, and might I add, I do all the cooking. Yes, I do.
What, ladies? You did not just hear that, gentlemen.
Step up.
I garbage. My wife does. So. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. So this is remarkable, and I hope that everyone listening feels this sense of hope that if you have a blended family, and there's probably been I've heard of a lot of tension through quarantine. It's been challenging. There's been a lot of parents just feeling what you just said. I have to work. Now I'm schooling from home. Who's taking care of our kids? What's going on? And then if you add any kind of family pressure on top of that, it can be really damaging. So I'm wondering, like you said that you guys had to dig in and do some hard work. Could you maybe unpack that a little bit? Some of the things that you learned, what was hard? What did you push through?
Yeah, I mean, for sure, there's, I think the early hard work, when I say my first marriage split up, would be a lot of the hard work that happened on my end and Shannon's end. After that, there's obviously Julia had done her own hard work, and it's becoming a stepmother is a difficult one versus being like the partner's boyfriend or girlfriend, where you can come in and have some fun, and it's just always good times. Like, bought me a new Xbox, let's go play baseball. Like, that's the fun stuff. But as a step parent, you come in as a parental role, and that's not always the smoothest transition. And there's always there's a blood mother and a blood father, and I can tell the feelings are different, and she has her own son as well, and the brothers are all great, but just having to understand that it may be different from step family to step family, but that feeling, when you can see it with their mom, and then there's your relationship, and you can see how different it is, even though it's love, but it's different. Can be difficult when you're pouring yourself into a family and not necessarily getting back what you want necessarily, right? Like, there's the logical piece of your brain knowing that later in life, yeah, for sure, they'll probably understand all of this quote unquote nagging was good, but it comes without that other side of the relationship. So I know that's a lot of hard work on Julia's end, and a lot of empathy on mine too, just understanding how hard that might be to be in that kind of scenario. I think another thing more in the more recent time, it has a lot to do with this idea of like really wanting to do it right now, when we don't know what right is. So there's like these internal pressures that we are putting on ourselves, so like they have school work and they have this stuff, and you're maybe first 2 weeks you were like, this is it, got my schedule, we're parenting, you got this at this time, and then all of a sudden this stretches out into months, and I've noticed, being very hard on themselves. Maybe they watch a little too much TV, and you need the break, and everyone needs the break, but there's this guilt that comes with it that's heavy, that we're putting on ourselves, that we don't actually have to do that. No one said we had to do that, right? A lot of that stuff is self-imposed because of what we are reading or watching. Like, I post pictures of us doing some cool stuff when it's cool, but we're not always doing cool stuff. That other stuff is really boring, and no one wants to see it anyway. It's like watching them watch Paw Patrol. That's not an exciting picture. But like when we go outside to have water fights and go for a walk, some people might be like, see, oh, I should be doing that right now. Well, no, you shouldn't. You should do it when you want to do it. And I think a lot of that is, this is a great time just to not have to there's so much pressure we've had on ourselves all the time. And here's one where we don't even have to do that. We can actually all kind of just take care of ourselves. If you want a 6-day week, take one and do some cool, fun stuff, or have like a 4-day nap cycle, whatever. Who's looking? You're not even getting paid for it. You're the boss of yourself. Let me do what you want to do, but also remember like mental health of everybody. Like as stressed as you are, your kids are also stressed. They're used to hanging out with their friends. They're used to a schedule of work and used to. So every time you're feeling that weight, I always do another check-in. They probably are too, right? They're in the same environment I'm in. So like if I'm feeling it, they're probably feeling it. Even if I'm feeling it because I'm doing so much work right now. I'm just like trying to get this rally put together and this TV show out, and there's like cameras and this stuff. My world, that's what it's looking like all the time, right? And so less time spent even nagging or talking to them has its own version of stress for them. So I've always gone with when I'm feeling any level that's off of the center that I like, then I will go check in with them. And no, it's not like real conversations where we're like, well, Father, here's how I'm feeling today. No, it's not that. It's not. But at least they know that I'm checking in and that they know that I'm stressed and that we're all human beings and trying to figure life out. And I think that's an important thing. Speak of the devil, your corn dogs are right there. I just warmed them up. One for all three of you.
He's making corn dogs for his family right now while he's on a webinar, while he's making a TV show and trying to work. Hey, like this is real life right here. Check it out. Go get the corn dogs. Made them. Go over there, do that. Yeah, you're just in the mix there, Jesse.
Get your pills in 20 minutes. I'll call you down. Yeah. All right. Hey, guys. I'm back. So then also, like it's a family too where 3 of the 4 that are home all have ADHD. I got an adult ADHD, 2 ADHD children, and then Indy's a toddler, which is basically ADHD incarnate. So yeah. So it's a lot, but it's good and it's fun and we're all learning. Yeah.
That's great. That's refreshing. And I hope people find that refreshing to hear. It's like, well, we're just in it, right? What would you say would be the most challenging aspect of the last, say, 10 weeks for you?
I think the most challenging thing for myself is okay, I got a couple now that I'm thinking about it. One of them is figuring out how to make sure. It's such a weird one because I know the answer logically is different than what I'm feeling emotionally, but this that my kids understand how much like I do care and love them because it's so much naggy stuff and so much do this thing, do this thing. So I really like, and of course they do because I'm there and we're doing. Yeah, I know, but like I just worry there, and then I hear my grandma, well, worry if it'll help. It doesn't help. Obviously, worrying doesn't help. But just that idea, like I just want them to know how much I love them for sure. The other part is my career is so I'm an entrepreneur and a creative, and my what I do, like as a speaker, public speaker, as an actor, as a singer, all on stages, and all of just is canceled. And so I'm just figuring out things from scratch over and over and over. So a little bit of like uneasiness in that, but I'm saying that right now, and I don't know if I believe what I'm saying because I'll crush it regardless. I'm not worried about it. So that was a lie. That'll be fine. I think that the biggest one is making sure that the family dynamic of all of us, we're feeling that we are respecting each other's time, needs, space, support to do what they need to do in this weird time. So that's the biggest worry. But I don't really worry. So that's why it was tough. Don't worry. There's a thing, and then I go on to try and fix it the best I can and just keep moving forward. Because it's madness and it's cool also. It's never happened before. This is insanity. We're writing history.
That is very true. We are writing history. And I'm loving the fact that you're just leaning into what it looks like. What would you
Yep.
say to fathers? Let's talk about fatherhood. And I know that sometimes fatherhood is a little bit touchy for some people because some people grew up without a father. Some people live in families that are completely different. They don't do fathers. There's 2 mothers. There's all kinds of different families today. But what would you say to fatherhood?
Yeah, I mean, I can only speak from fatherhood because I'm a dad, and but I can speak from fatherhood that's been in 2 different marriages. So there's a little bit of fatherhood stretches. I can speak to Black fatherhood, man fatherhood, identifying as a man fatherhood. Here's what I'd say: fathers, those who identify as fathers, those who want to be a father. My personal advice is to get in your feelings a little bit more. Get out of the male tropes because there's so much fun that the collective we are missing. The idea of like hand of the father, "Brr," and that's that, you know. And like sometimes I laugh. I've never seen my dad cry. I've heard so many times. Or I remember the one time I saw my dad. I've heard these things all the time from people. Hey, Chili, have you ever seen me cry? Yeah, like every day. Oh, he said you can't see the tears because I don't let them like pour. I usually just do like one pretty tear. I try to, yeah, it's because you never know who's looking. But like yeah, you know, the idea of like there's so much joy available to men in general that we kind of shield ourselves off from. Like the idea of, you know, you don't have to have a daughter to dance with your kids, you know, and spin and sing with them and make music and get dressed up and watch a movie and bawl and cry in front of them so they can see you're a human being that has real emotions as well, more than just a rock. My advice to fathers is unlock the emotional door that we've been conditioned to close off as men, and show our sons and daughters like the breadth of emotions that human beings experience so that they can see themselves in you. You know, like that idea of like, I felt like that and my dad has felt like that. And then now these conversations become a little bit more open with our kids as they get older. And I think it's important. And I think also we're shielding ourselves from it. It's not just like a lock where I'll just open them up. Like they're probably locked up for a reason. So we'll explore that, and explore it like out in the open. I think that's one of the biggest things is all the stuff that deals with emotions. We try to just like shield this over here and not even let our family watch us work through stuff. But I think that's where the learning has happened. We weren't perfect parents when we had kids, and we're learning, and we just keep getting better, hopefully. And why not have them join us on that journey of making mistakes, being scared, being worried, being excited, you know, all of those things that make us human beings. I think fatherhood, we could do more of that and share more of that. Yeah, I think that'd be a good step in the right direction.
That's great. No, I think that would be so valuable and so different than how I grew up. You know, in the 80s, you know, I don't know many adults who showed much emotion at all. At least in our family, emotion, that was not something that was welcome.
Mm,
Anger was pushed away, sadness was pushed down, and even overly excited was kind of frowned upon. I didn't really ever see my parents go through fluctuating emotions, so I never really knew how to manage my own. And I feel
hmm
like men, I don't know, like I'm a woman, so I feel a lot, and you feel a lot. I wonder, why is it that men have a hard time expressing these things?
I mean, I don't think we've been given permission, society-wise, to do so, right? Like it is fully accepted for women to hug each other and cry with each other, hold hands, like bawl, get it out, cathartic feelings. Like if you look at children, like toddlers specifically, or even little babies, they something happens, they're in a bad mood, doesn't matter what the sex of the child is, they will have their temper tantrum. I mean, tears, everything, and then it's over, and it's actually over, and then they're happy, and they're actually happy right now. And then as we get older, we're like, well, I feel all this, but I have to put it somewhere because I can't put it out right now. It's got to put it somewhere. We compartmentalize, compartmentalize, compartmentalize. The environment, society-wise, says that women don't have to compartmentalize emotions the same amount that we do to fit into the tropes that currently exist, that all could be broken down, obviously, but that's where we sit right now with what's given to us, whether it be media, movies, what's been regurgitated from generation after generation. But I think that's where the difficulty lies. It's not, there's not an open door or a welcoming for it as much, whether it's self-imposed or externally imposed. And no matter what, those emotions are there, right? So we put them somewhere. We know like stress does stuff to our body. It releases cortisol, which does other things. And like there's so much stuff that happens with every emotion that's in us. But it's also cathartic to let it out. When it's out, hence writing, journaling, even these things. You don't have to cry out loud. Maybe that's not your thing, but writing it down, having a journal. But even that was a diary, which was also like for girls, right? That idea, like all the stuff that was like healthy for emotions was always directed over there. And then we were supposed to be these rocks that were unbreakable, that and strong and can protect, and like all these hard things that are like not soft and flexible. And that's what we created, like inflexible stereotypes of what a man's supposed to be. And then you ask, all right, guys, we need you to be sensitive now. Like just like that. It's like a cultural switch. And I can see why there's pushback or feelings like even you say, I feel like I don't have a voice. It's like it's a binary thing. It's either I have one or I don't have one, versus being flexible. Like I have less and I can bend over here and I can cry a little bit about it. And that's okay. Like that agency would be amazing. And I think that's a step in the right direction. But I think it's not like our fault as a man singularly. It's a system that exists right now that makes it harder for us to see the light, see the door, see the tears, the giggles, the laughs, the dances, and the spins. Yeah.
What would you say would be the number one thing, or I don't know, maybe it's not a number one thing because everybody's an individual, but what do men need from, say, their partner? What do you need?
It's a good one. Um, I can't speak obviously from. I don't know what men need. I know what I need. I need uh, I need space to be loved for sure. I need encouragement. I need a cheerleader. I need a support system. I need my back rubbed. I need my feet rubbed. Uh, I need a little coddling, if I'm being honest. Yeah, I like a little mothery, coddly kind of thing. Like if I'm sick, I want to whine and I want you to make it seem like it's worse than it is. Like, yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Every woman's like, yeah, we know.
The idea of like I have a headache, well, take a pill. I'm like, well, I just want you to bring me the pill because I don't want. That's what I like that. So, but yeah, for me, I don't know what men need, but man, I need space to create. I need someone who believes in me, who's a cheerleader, and will coddle me a little bit.
And that's beautiful. I think that if and both ways, vice versa, if partners are not one another's greatest cheerleader, then what are we doing, right? And I think that a marriage or a partnership that fights for connection with one another, works for connection, whether it's blended, whether it's whatever that looks like, it does something for our kids. It teaches them how to show up for others. One day they'll be in a relationship, and it's modeling something so powerful. And I
Mhm.
feel like you're modeling for your kids. I'm a man and I can have emotions, and I'm navigating life, and I'm allowing you into my world. I'm bringing you along. I'm taking you by the hand. I'm teaching you as I go. I'm your coach. Um, this next on Maori, as you said, I thought that was hilarious. And you're leaning in. And I think that parents overcomplicate this, and we think that, nope, I got to have it together. I got to have a system. I got to do this just right. And so many of our parents are drowning, and our kids, the mental health crisis our kids are facing even before COVID was just sad. And
Yeah.
so your message right now is awesome and key.
I think too, it's not necessarily for me, not like I need to be like that. I think it needs to be take a quick little like take stock and find out like am I happy right now? Do I feel happy? Do I feel fulfilled with how I'm parenting? And could I check in with my children to see if they are as well? And if the answer is yes, then keep doing that. Like don't switch it up. But like if you find yourself being like super regimented and having to do all this stuff and stressing you out, and you're like you don't like it, then change something, right? Like it's the idea, I think, is to try to be as happy as we are on this journey, no matter what it looks like, from birth to the grave, and fill that dash with as much joy as you possibly can. And in doing so, it's not about trying to be like that person or do it that way, but doing check-ins like, is this comfortable? Do I like this? What do I love about it? Let's do more of it. What do I really not like? Do I have to do that? And you don't have to. We get to create anything we want. This is the coolest part. Like tomorrow's a blank page, blank, and we all are the authors of it. So no matter what we did, like I could just pick up. If you have a job, quit it, leave. I don't know where you can go now, but let's say you could go somewhere, right? But you could do whatever, you could do anything you want. And it might be difficult, and there'll be different stresses involved in it, but there's no such thing as I have to. There isn't. None. Zero. You get to pick. So if you're doing something day in and day out that you hate, you don't have to do it. You could say, well, I got to make money from it. Make money a different way. Someone else is making it a different way. Like there's so many different options that can provide one joy. Same with your kids, and same with your whole entire blended family. You just have to actually sit down and make some choices and not expect it just to exist. You have to do stuff. You have to work. You have to move. But move in the direction that makes you smile. Then the movements feel good. Hence why I always spin.
Spinning is good. Spinning is good. I was curious if you would be open to diving in a little bit to like what's been going on recently, just with Black Lives Matter, and just maybe your experience like as a family. I think a lot of us right now are wondering, like, how do I teach my kids? How do I help my kids understand I have friends who've adopted from Haiti, from Africa, and they're navigating raising a Black child. And there's just, this is so involved. And I'm curious, are you willing to go there, Jesse?
The real question is, are you? I am.
I'm ready.
Okay.
Everybody else ready?
Trust me, I'm always ready. You open the door, I'm not going to hold back. But sure, let's go there, Connie.
Let's go there. I am so wanting brave conversations around this right now. Um, what could you tell us about your own experience in your family, just navigating all of this? What do you experience?
Oh, I mean, okay, so mine's going to be a little bit quicker. Here's what happens. Me, like any other Black, Indigenous, or person of color, experiences racism on a macro or micro level every day of their life, living in a white community or a white world, basically North America. That's just a given. And the same way that I talk about compartmentalizing emotions, you got to compartmentalize. This is a different version, because if you didn't, you'd spend all of your day in some emotion that isn't really a healthy one to live in, based on the seemingly immovable systemic racist structures that exist, and people who don't know that they're actually happening on a daily basis. So for me, it's just a part of being alive. Recently, more and more people are starting to understand different topics like white privilege, or understanding white fragility, understanding that you just haven't really understood it for quite some time. And it's not necessarily just about, like, what do I tell my kids, and how do I help them navigate? Yes, I have to help them navigate from a very early age that things are not going to be fair for them. They're going to be treated differently. They can't have the same reactions as their white friends to um, uh, well, they won't be treated that way. At some point, they'll go from being cute to being a threat, just based on the color of their skin. All of this stuff exists. As they get older, we talk more and more about systemic racism and how things occur since Emancipation Proclamation, and these things. Well, them, and then oftentimes I'm talking to white people, and like none of these words are things they know about. In these discussions, their children, they oh wait, how's the internet? I hope you come back. Let
Are you there, Jesse?
me know when you can hear me, Connie.
I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
But
Oh, is it you and me, Elizabeth? Oh dear. Oh, there he comes. There you are.
back. Uh, yeah, I don't know when we lost each other, but
You were
you can hear
saying
me now, right?
something really important.
Yeah, I was in the midst of it, and we were going in, but here we are again. So yeah, I was talking about how it's everyday thing, right, for myself, and I was really going into how, yeah, I have to talk to my children. I talk to them in different ways. The thing I talk to them about in stores, and how to dress and where to put your hands, and don't wear a hood. As they get older, I have to talk to them how to deal with police and how to deal with security. And then as they get older, I start to talk to them about the actual reasons behind why all these things exist, and why they are disproportionately affecting people that look like you than the people that look like you, Connie. And so we talk about things from the early days of slavery to emancipation proclamation, understood to understand how we got to where we are. Now, I have these talks, and many Black parents treat you this way. All that happens. Stop. A rampant problem that's all the time, but the just Black Indigenous nations with their kids. Just not have them be.
Hey, Jesse, you're
Maybe I
still
don't know if I. Well, shoot, I have like all my bars, and it looks really good here. I don't know why.
Oh, such a shame because I catch little things in between, and they're so good. I'm like, oh, we cannot be missing this.
Let's see, Jesse, you're cutting
I wonder if you do need to
out. I can
restart.
hear you. Uh, so it's good. Is it good right now? Was it just a weird little time?
That seems okay right now.
That box open, and if it gets cutty again, let me know and I'll restart. Because right now we seem to be okay.
Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna even truncate it a little bit more. White families, talk to your children about race. Talk to your children about obviously love, grace, and acceptance, but also like what your responsibilities and roles are as kids, to making sure you call out other kids that are treating other people differently as a result of their skin color. They've seen it. They already they know it. We don't have to do a history lesson right now if we're talking about grade school, but also ask yourself, could you give one? And if you couldn't, get open a book and start reading and understand what has happened to get us to where we are right now, and not just black, but black and indigenous lives. If you're telling yourself racism isn't as bad in Canada as it is in the States, then open some books again. What happens is people often like to say that because, and I can say right now, black people are second place. The indigenous community is the most disrespected community that's ever existed in Canada. Literal genocide and broken treaties on the back of them has what we have today. We are all benefiting right now from the complete and utter disrespect of a complete culture. So understanding that everyone listening here, has had a hand in creating the environment that is as racist as it is right now by not doing anything to dismantle the system that we all are benefiting from. As we were all having a great time on Canada 150, spending dollars, what were we celebrating? 150 years? Canada's much older than that. Let's ask anyone who knows what Great Turtle Island is. Let's talk about what we actually are celebrating. We were celebrating literally like the genocide of a culture with fireworks. It's ridiculous. We spent millions and millions of dollars on fireworks across the country where that money should have been reallocated to where it needed to go, but we were okay just having a fun time. So we're a part of the problem, myself and anyone else here who hasn't done that work. But you don't know these things unless you take some time to really learn and read. And then the question is, okay, what should I read, Jesse? Where do I go? No, stop being lazy. Google it. Like, Google it yourself. I already know. No one came over to me and told me. I was curious. I learned. It's not even up to people of color to teach you how to learn to be better. That's as it turns out, the system wasn't made by us, right? And it shouldn't be up to me to fix it. That's literally like asking an abuse victim to go counsel the abuser and make them feel okay about it. Like, what? No, absolutely not. That's not our job. So I say, if you want to know what to do, go find out, Google some questions, teach yourself, then teach your kids, and you have a whole bunch of work to do because it's new work. And it's going to feel like really weird. And no one's going to coddle you or high five you for it because it's like human work that we should have done beforehand. So don't expect congrats and signs. So that's what I think, since you wanted to talk about it.
Oh, Jesse, thank you. Thank you. And thank you for just saying it frank.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it is sad because when I was growing up in school, we did not learn anything like this. To be honest, the first time I heard about residential school was maybe 10 years ago.
Right.
Oh, not school. I didn't learn it in school. And I grew up in Calgary, predominantly white, and never learned anything about Black culture, nothing. I'm a hip hop dancer, so I love all things hip hop, and peace, love, unity, having fun. That New York hip hop is my jam. And honestly, I learned more about Black. What?
You said you love hip hop. Like, so you love dancing hip hop, like, hip hop culture, like you support the culture and you stand with the people who have made the culture. And so you're on the front lines with us. I like that. Okay, Connie.
Boom, I am. So, but like, can I just clarify? My little. Uh, so I really love where hip hop came from in New York, right, in the Bronx, and how it's evolved. I mean, it's the voices of the oppressed, and yeah, and that's where I learned about Black culture, was through hip hop, that I learned at age 25.
Cool.
It's unfortunate, and honestly, I love hip hop because it really does teach a lot about what people go through that I have no idea. No
Mm-hmm.
idea. And you're right, we can do better. And we are the ones who have to educate ourselves. I'm glad you called that out in us because I saw someone, it was a doctor, this beautiful lady. She had posted that white people who are well intended, please don't be offended if we don't like you,
Hmm.
but fight for us anyways. And something really gripped my heart in her statement. Fight
Right.
for it. It doesn't matter if, because I think white people right now are feeling like, well, why should I? Because they're calling us out. It's like, no, we need to fight right now for people who have felt unheard and who have felt oppressed for years, decades,
Yeah.
tons of time. We don't know.
In a different direction. Like I will fight for you as a woman because I have a privilege as a man right now. I didn't earn it. It just happened. I came out as a man. And as a result, the system that exists right now is built for me to do better than you. You have to work harder than I do. You have another one. You're white. I'm black. So it's all, we're kind of like, I got one, you got one. But either way, but I'm saying, but at the end of the day, that's what these privileges are. You have something you didn't work for. It makes something easier for you. Doesn't mean you don't work your ass off, but it makes something easier for you. It doesn't mean that somebody that doesn't have it can't go further than you, but you have something that puts you at a spot that's a little easier than someone who doesn't have it. And I think it's our duty to recognize our privileges as like superpowers. Like Superman, he's got all of them. He comes down and he saves us all the time. And so if you have a privilege, you can find out what it is, use it like a superpower. Like who doesn't have this and how can I use it to help? Dun, 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 I'm a man. I'm tall. I'm decent looking. I got some privileges, right? We got them. It's fine. And I'm going to use them to help other people who don't have them. That's all. It doesn't mean that I don't have to work, that I don't have to try hard, that life is easy. No, not at all. I just get a little bit of a head start in certain areas, right? And so when we're saying use your privileges, that's all we're saying. And when we're talking about white fragility and people are all upset about it, it's you're making it about yourself, and it's not. If you see the comments, it's like, I've never done that. My friend says this, and when I was there, if I would have done this, this is how I would have been, and it makes me feel this way. And one time someone said this about me, and I've felt people have been prejudiced. Too many eyes in this thing that's not about you. Like if your words have that meaning in it, you need to take a pause. Like, wow, how did this become about me? That was just a post about someone posting some atrocious thing, and I've now hijacked the post about myself because it made me feel uncomfortable. Right? That's what happens so often. We have to get out of our own way so we can collectively help each other with our superpowers.
That's a really, really awesome way to put it. And that makes a lot of sense. And I hope that makes a lot of sense to everyone listening. And I just want to thank you, Jesse, for your time and for leaning in with this topic. I mean, when we made this arrangement for you to be on today, I mean, we weren't really, this wasn't necessarily the direction, but I'm like, we can't just not talk about this right now. And to hear you and hear your heart and hear what you have to say about it, in my opinion, we have to be listening right now.
I first off, thanks for the chance to chat with you guys. This is fun. I'll tell you what I don't like doing. I don't like having to talk about race every single day of my life, but I have to every day. There's not a time that doesn't happen ever. I don't love being an activist that has to go out and like do the stuff that I'm doing. I don't love it. I hate it. I'd rather not do it. So let's collectively make a world we don't have to do that. That would be amazing. And that might take everyone out here listening to have to do what I'm doing as well, not just once in a while. Like it would really speed up the work, guys. So let's expedite it collectively so I can stop this volunteer job that takes a ton of time for me making my movies and music. Damn it. All right. Love you guys.
Absolutely. Yes. Well, Jesse, I just want to honor you as an amazing man who shows up. You show up for your family, you show up for your community. You showed up for our Bell Let's Talk Day, gave your time that day. I'll never forget that. Um, and just in you, I just see a warrior of strength. And I just want you to know that, we're on your team. We're cheering for you. We're going to do whatever it takes. You need anything, you holler anytime, and we will be right there with you, holding your arms up so that you can stay strong to do what you're doing, because you're a culture creator. That's what you are. I see it in you. I see it in all your posts. I see it in what you do. And I just so value you as a person, even beyond what you do.
Thank you. Thank you. I am going to make my first request because I appreciate what you said. My first request is this. You're cheering for me. I want you to stop it. I want you on the team.
Okay. I'm
And
on
if
the team, Jesse.
someone else can cheer. You're on my team. We're on the same team. Let's go battle. Let's go to work. Deal?
Deal.
All right. Have a great day, everybody. Love you.
Thanks, Jesse. Thank you.